Talking about the elevator music in here again. Welcome in, everybody. Oh shit. Well, what's going on, yo? I'll turn it off. What's going on? I should have went over to Justin's stream last night and watched this. He had a good stream last night. Just in regards to a lot of the screenshots that he was talking about and grabbing. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think about this Daniel now. What do you think of Daniel now? Doesn't it seem like an individual who's eager to talk about the investigation from the perspective of a homicide detective rather than a victim and in need of help? You never have to be silent about a missing child's case in that sense. If your kid's just wandered off, why are you clamming up in that sense to protect the integrity of what case? What's the situation? Yeah, thanks, Tammy Burke. I was reading your comment earlier on, and that's what directed me over to Justin's stream, by the way. I've got some screenshots if we need to get at it, but we'll talk about them. Many of you will probably already seen them. There's some some messages that I don't think I've seen before. But this double exclamation point already annoys the hell out of me. I don't know about you guys. This double exclamation point that he uses after every statement. And this little trailer that he leads on. Oh, I'm helping investigators think outside the box. Bringing in all kinds of different angles to the case. Isn't he just a regular little confidential informant? Telling on himself. You know, I thought about whether or not maybe I was being too hard on Daniel. You know, is there going to be a time in the future, speaking about future, friends, the markets are pumping today. It's a beautiful day. But there'll be a time in the near future where, you know, there's a possibility that he isn't, we don't know exactly what's gone on 100%. So we would probably have a tendency to be more hard on Daniel than we would normally, just out of sheer suspicion that he's done or brought harm towards these children. So I'll try to walk that fine line for now. But he seems to be out there playing games. That's what I have a problem with it. It's how he's representing the case in that circumstance. And no person who's genuinely free of all guilt in a circumstance like this would be typing the way that he's typing. Now he's talking about, oh, I'm going to be in hot water. I don't want to ruin my ins with the police. I've got an in with the police. I don't want to ruin that. Fuck, you're going to have an in with police, all right. The Federal Corrections Institute. He's really eager to demonstrate how innocent he is of all suspicion, and he has been since the get-go. That's been a priority for Daniel. All you had to do is say it once. But he's in a situation where he can be damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, all eyes are on you whether you like it or not. Well, if it was Malaya's fault, out with it. But the information that he comes out with is questionable at best. Thus far. And it all centers around Malaya doing something, and he never ever outs with what it is that he thinks that she did. Because he's already positioned himself to be in the dark because of her up and leaving that same day. Wasn't that a convenient situation? Of course it was planned like that. No, I don't think they'll be getting back together anytime soon. Why? Somebody was talking in chat that they're talking about Daniel having a new girlfriend. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Hopefully she can move on up into that trailer. Clean things up, perhaps. Yeah, Tammy Burke. Yeah, that's what Justin here was pointing out. So the crux, the crux of the information today is going to be really about how Daniel messed up speaking about the clothes. Let me just add to that, and that's a great specific thing in the circumstance that Justin's highlighting. But he's really doing that with all of the information. It's an illusion. The information that he's coming forward with is an illusion. Lacadian, accessory to homicide after the fact. What kind of plea deal would you get? You're curious what the recreation rug is that allows you to rehab within days? Tobacco. Daniel, if you're watching, Lacadian says, I think it's the best you'll get. His comments make me throw up, Shauna says. Oh boy. You guys. I tried to give him the best segue possible. I don't know why he's obsessed. Whoops, I lost the level of my chair. I don't know why he seems to be so obsessed with what people think of him in this circumstance. He's actively looking for people that are believing of him in this sense. No matter what, he's not come forward with a reliable account of the circumstances leading up to the whereabouts of Jack and Lily. It's been a bullshit story, and it's been games. It's been a real game ever since of pointing fingers at Malaya, and that's easy to do when she's not around. And I'm not sticking up for her. I'm expecting her to be guilty as sin now. Monkey Mind, sorry, but they all have missing teeth. Well, you can change. You can get new teeth. Knee teeth or meth mouth. Not a very smart bunch out there. Reminds me of the Whitaker, except none are banking like the one brother. I see what you're saying. Not right now, please. People asking for snacks already. It seems every time I go live, it's like the smorgasbord is open over here or something. Heaven's sakes. No, I'm not smoking this time, Kelly. Not yet. It's kids asking for snacks. You have to feed these things too? Oh my God. Yeah. We're going to have a fantastic dinner tonight. Oh, yes, we are. Just people I would not say something around these babies. What are you saying there, Sean? Hold on, I lost that. Just people I would not say something around. These babies named, if it was not true, that's not the kind of person. Oh, people have been sending me links in the background. I'm sure other creators and other people have access to them as well. Of everybody's TikTok and old 10-year-old social media accounts on YouTube and things like that. So that's interesting. This is Logan McKenzie, is it? She's something else. She's something else. Trying not to cast judgment. Trying to find something nice to say. She's a busybody. I don't know her personally, but you can just tell. So you have all of these squabbling gals down there allegedly white knighting for Malaya in that sense, trying to bring shade on Daniel in a roundabout way because this statement from Haley is something to it's not even a good story. The way that you told the story is horrible. You left out every key detail, and you just wanted the person to suspect the individual of taking drugs, which I'm skeptical about, the way that she's telling it. I think it's her way of trying to bring shade on Daniel in this sense, because she knows all about his lifestyle, because she's partaking in it up in there. All right? They'll have their own little dynamic about what is too much and acceptable. You can see it now. You couldn't even point out, Haley, the problem that you had that started off the confrontation, and you just wanted people to understand what it is that you meant. No. You're the one telling the story. You have to communicate what it is that you meant clearly. And she didn't do that. So either it's 100% bullshit, or she's just trying to tell you enough and leaving out the contradictory facts of the scenario, which is, number one, how the fuck would she know about all the drug use up in there? I don't believe this story about you being suspicious of Daniel, number one. He could have been in there doing drugs, who knows? But why would a person go up in there immediately suspicious if you weren't suspicious of it already? And then according to her, they took off because Malaya says, oh, he's been like this for 2 years now. Like Malaya, you can see that you've been hitting that glass stick for 2 years. People brought up maybe she went into rehab. That would have been probably a good decision at that point in time, but I doubt she did. Why have a girlfriend, Teresa says. Why have a girlfriend? Daniel, where are Jack and Lily? What a piece of work. Oh, exactly. Well, hold on, Teresa, because he's working closely with detectives, so he claims. For free, number one. And how what does that mean? He's actively working with detectives. Yeah, trying to, lead them in the wrong direction. Yeah, maybe Cosmic Dreamer. Normally, cash rewards never really lead to much information in situations like this, especially when, first of all, because most have to do with the parents of the children bringing harm to the kids. And in this case, too, there's no effing way that we can get past that. Why can't we get past it? No matter how much fandangling Daniel does, he's only bringing more skepticism and more suspicion upon himself with all of these new messages that he brings out, especially when it claims that you're being some sort of investigator into what exactly went on here and what happened. That is such bullshit. He had to, in my mind, I can't get out. I can't determine whether or not he knew the call was. I don't believe any of that story of the situation leading up to the call to 911. I don't believe the story that they were in and out of sleep and the one that they've told, differently. So that just erased that entire story. And it leaves a big opening, with the time slot through the night into that morning from the last time that they were seen on CCTV, excuse me. All kinds of questions about what the kids were last wearing, and to see Daniel talk about that so many different ways. It makes you really wonder about him. There's no possible way he can be telling the truth about anything. He doesn't even know what it is he's saying. Basically, you're going behind the narrative's back, telling everybody that that's not what the kids were wearing after you guys gave the last account. By the way, you don't even know. You've never really clearly stated if they're even wearing anything. Weren't you supposed to be in bed? In bed on Friday in the middle of a morning while the kids were up rooting around? I'll just bet. Unique rhythm, what's going on? They should have no energy left to focus on public opinions. They should be focused on finding Lilly and Jack. Aren't they worried for their well-being or safety? WTH. Exactly. That would be the mindset otherwise. And they're so in deep, tweaking what people believe out here and have them anticipating the next move, which is leading you to believe there's going to be some sort of arrests and Daniel's a hero in all of this. How could Daniel possibly be a hero in any of this circumstance? Yeah, this Barbie shirt, Tammy Burke. You thought the backpack was white, then pink, then cream. Which color is it? The fact that it's you can expect some sort of mistakes. I can't tell you sometimes what the hell she's wearing when I think about it. I can through ruling things out, or like my daughter. But it's just another thing is the point. It's just another piece that he's inconsistent about. He's contradictory about. He's not had a clear answer for, like everything else. Like everything else. What is that timestamp? I have a timestamp, but I forgot it, but I'm going to press play.
I think
This is Clutched in Pearls. This is Justin. I pulled 4 different screenshots from this particular stream, but I like this particular one on your screen right now. I work with investigators directly multiple times per week now, ! Answering questions and working out small details and also bringing in new evidence and helping exploring new angles, ! On Daniel. Oh my God. This is what he wants you guys to believe. That's he's approaching it like that because he wants people to take him at face value. He wants you to consider him the source for all information factual on this case at any one moment.
He showed me here. But anyway, this one right here, it says obviously this is Daniel. I work with investigators directly multiple times per week now, answering questions and working out small details, and also bringing in new evidence and helping explore new angles. Hold on. No, you don't, Daniel. No, you don't. You just said in your sit-down interview that you might talk to them once every 5 days now, and it's usually you contacting them. Come on, Daniel. You know better, Daniel. Why does he do this?
Why does he do this? Probably a factor of reasons. Not one of them are related to him being innocent. There has to be a victim in all this. There has to be somebody in the situation, and Daniel is that person in front of the camera. He's in there for an in-studio interview. He's put his perception, his public perception of being innocent and everything before the kid's safety in the circumstance. That's always going to be a problem. The order of operations there are mixed up. Like, there's no problem with sitting there claiming you have nothing to do with it and getting on with things. But Daniel, you spend all of your time consumed in altering stories and approaching things that make you look questionable after the fact. How can you not have all of the inside information that's important to putting together the pieces of the puzzle here? What is it he's saying? He's saying that Malaya solely brought harm to her children?
Why does he do this constantly? Yesterday, um, I can't remember who it was I think it was Shark who was in chat, and they were like, Justin, Daniel said he never ever searched on his ATV. And I don't think Shark, knew he said this. And I was like,
I think Daniel's new girlfriend's name is Cheryl Wirch from Saskatchewan. I think it's Cher. It's probably Daniel's new girlfriend. Hey, Daniel, can I be your boyfriend?
and he like quoted Daniel. And I was like, hold on a second, mother chicken. Hold on a second. Let's just pull this right up. It has him in quotes. One of the first interviews he ever did, saying that 1,000% that he searched 20 or 30 acres on his ATV.
In a circumstance like this, searching and disposing of corpses can be interchangeable, especially if you're trying to get away with something. Never once does he tell you the reason as to why he... There's nothing worse than being in a panic and running around like a chicken with your head cut off with real no direction. You're really not doing anything. You're busy looking, aka signaling your own negligence. Like, how far could the kids possibly have went? Weren't they just right there a second ago? Well, I'm pretty sure that they'll be closer to the house than farther away. So this whole time, it's important for him to go through the motions to impress upon the people that are watching that the situation is legitimate when we're looking at it after the fact, knowing damn well that it's not. And his behavior at that moment in time should look even more illegitimate. And the need for that sit-down CBC interview. Miss K finds it very interesting. Daniel never concerned about the children's current well-being, but tells us about how his welfare is. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's just such an empty house right now, and I play my Hank Williams records late every night. Crying like a bitch. Deanna Reiner, what are you saying, Luminous? Please tell Daniel to go tell the truth and stop covering for Malaya's arse, please. You think that he's covering for her in this circumstance? Well, it's all a bit of a cover for something. They're probably all afraid of the same thing, or similar things. The truth. They're afraid of people understanding what happened that particular night that led them to call 911. It wasn't the last minute. It wasn't a last minute emergency. Malaya didn't instinctively call 911. Oh, I just instinctively called the cops on myself. Hardly. Nini, what kind of woman would get involved with Daniel? Supposedly a junkie with no job and 2 kids missing? One taken away from him? I don't get women sometimes. Nini, there's plenty of women, including Cher, that would love to have a long-distance relationship with a man like Daniel in a circumstance like this because he's in the market for bullshit. Luminous says, Daniel, please speak the truth. If you want to carry a name such as Luminous, you need to shine the light on the darkness. Is Daniel under that name? Is that his sock account you're alleging? Okay. Hello, Daniel. What's your girlfriend's name? Malaya the second? Careful what I wish for. Let's hear what Justin's got to say.
Did he ever get in his car? Or was it just his ATV? Are the kids closer than we think? Or are they farther? This isn't a TV show, Danny boy. It's real life. These are real human beings. And today, just today, I am emotionally spent already today, to be quite honest with you.
So in Justin's chat, they're saying that Luminous might be Daniel. I'm open. I'm not saying it is or it's not. People always get their suspicions up. That's where it was coming from, though. Thank you for the info.
Literally hit the ground running this morning on these cases because I get a call that there's this 8-year-old little boy. Hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, Justin's makeup's going to run. He's probably crying.
Sorry. It wasn't going to turn out good. So, there's that. Oh, it does, Daphne. It really does. It really does. Some days it gets to you. You know, you text messages about how he is working. He's got the inside.
Yeah. These are probably my favorite right here, this little series. So what these are gonna tell you. Can you please tell us, Daniel, what you believe Lily and Jack were wearing? I wore both during the search, navy blue one first night and white one second day. Oh, okay, that's wild. I can't tell you because it's part of the investigation. What? He's got all these reasons not to be able to share information. Either he's probably cognitive of the fact that he's already contradicted himself, so he wants to avoid even conversing about it again with the public. Or he's just full of shit. He's eager to look for people who believe whatever it is that he's claiming. Oh, you believe that I'm working with the investigation? Well, I'm more likely to go and tell you more information in this circumstance because you're more likely to believe it. Daniel says, it was a normal days for me, but she had different plans. How do you know? How do you know? And what does that actually mean? Stop talking in code in this circumstance. They don't have on what we think they had on. They don't have on what we think they had on. I'll leave it there. I'm playing with fire, speaking out. Playing with fire. That to me is leakage. Of course you're playing with fire, speaking out. Right in the bottom corner. Dudes, right down there, on the bottom right-hand side of those statements, I'm playing with fire, speaking out. That's a strong indicator that you are culpable in this circumstance. Well, the homicide investigators aren't going to like that one. It's one against you. Oh my God, Daniel. So it's these little statements that you can't ignore. You want to appear helpful, and you want to appear that you have the answers that you should have, and you're really not passing on any sort of information relevant to the case, just a bunch of bullshit to get you by in the time. Now all of a sudden the kids, what the kids were wearing is some sort of confidential information in this, imperative to keep the integrity of the case together. Oh, sure there, pal. Disappointing, to say the least, Daniel. Person in that circumstance probably have no problem acting like a weirdo in front of the camera like he did, as though he was searching in a panic looking for the kids, because what he's really in is a panic over his own hide. He's scared shitless in that circumstance. The only way that you can maintain some sort of balance is to engage with it, or otherwise it's going to get way out of your control. That's probably what Daniel's doing. Oh, darling, I appreciate you. Hey, Jude, welcome, darling.
Port, if you will.
What did Justin say?
On this case, right? I can't tell you because I want to talk about that one in a second. I haven't talked about that one as much. But he talks about how he's got pretty much messages from the inside. He's working with investigators. Okay, here it is. I told investigators.
What alternative does he have? What alternative does he have? He can sit on the outside and make it look like he's being as much of a participant in the investigation as possible. But he's also got all of the information that you want, but he just can't share it. Right. No, you generally want to share information should this be a legitimate scenario, but he's already admitted it's not. So what you're saying is everybody already knows what's going on in the background, but you can't share any of those details. I don't even believe that for a second.
To polygraph her family, and they are. I work with detectives.
I like this one. Daniel's saying, I told investigators to polygraph her family, and they are. But don't you think that they would have went ahead and polygraphed them if you hadn't have said that? He's playing Cowboys and Indians. What an idiot. You go ahead there, officers, arrest her now. You can't wait to throw this woman under the bus. Have you mentioned this to police? I work with detectives. Look at Daniel, you're catfishing people talking about how you're working with detectives. You don't have any other choice, boy. You're a suspect in this. You just have to get in front of it and tell everybody that no, you're working with detectives, not against them. So again, you're more concerned about how it is that people perceive you as opposed to what really happened to Jack and Lily in this situation. A person who was there looking, supposed to be protecting them, because you're the one who says, who took care of Jack and Lily. Those are your words in these particular statements. I'm the one who took care of Jack and Lily. I'll just bet that you are, if you get my drift. He took care of moving the corpses as well. And he knows what happened. Do you expect him to tell the truth? That's another story then.
This is why this can't get out. If it does, then I lose my in with investigators. Daniel, do you know when they see these? Because I promise you, pinky promise you, mother chicken, if you don't think investigators watch us, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. It's not to toot anybody's horn or anything, but it's true. They do watch some of us. 1,000%.
That's ironclad. Oh shit. Daniel doesn't want to ruin his in with investigators. Kind of like Malaya is not allowed to talk to the media because the police told her that. The police told me not to talk to the media until, police just told me to stay here and clam up.
Because whenever people, particularly that are part of the investigation, are communicating with people in the social media sphere here, they're going to look at that. Of course, they know everything that's on their phones and everything right now. Yes, we do. I see you. Yes, we do. We sure do. And they have no idea how they work with some of us. They have no idea. Come on, Daniel. Come talk.
Tammy, I know Justin already.
Come on. I'll even wash off my eyebrows and put them at a friendlier rate for you to look more nice. What do you want? Like, what do you want, Daniel, to talk? I don't understand. I would be trying to speak with anybody and everybody I could. So there's that. All right, now let's go to this. I forgot about these messages. I believe they're alive, and Malaya knows who took them off the property. She will go on as long as she can, but will crack after her mental health is put to the test with exams. I'm saying too much. She was going to break the day.
I'm saying too much. Could you imagine what sort of bullshit you have to be protecting in order to sit there in a public, like when you're communicating with all of these creators, you think that they're keeping things in the vault? Oh, I'm saying too much. Come on, I just can't. What you're really doing is pressing him too hard, and he's letting you know the areas he doesn't want to talk about. I wonder why that is. Hey, Daniel, what really happened that day, you lazy prick? Fucking guy hanging around in bed, I bet. You were probably up since you probably didn't sleep all night. You probably didn't get to bed till 8 or 9. Maybe for an hour to stage a scene, let's say. Old Janie was out there with her shovel covering up any sort of tire tracks in order to stage a scene. That means sanitizing it for any sort of evidence. Sweaters could be put over the corpses to disguise the scent, especially during transport, so any sort of your loose ends aren't hanging out as bad. Little kids like that are easy to transport. Christ, you're usually carrying them around anyway. You need to be spending more time telling people about what happened. What did the kids have for dinner the night before? What was for supper? What were for snacks? Kids never stop eating all day, dude. You should be able to rhyme off all kinds of things that got taken out of your cupboard that have to go back on the grocery bill. You should know on the top of your head what gets eaten in that house, especially in such small confines. Nothing. What did they eat for breakfast? You're telling me it was 9:30, 10 a.m. and those kids didn't have breakfast yet? You didn't get up to give them breakfast since they already decided to start their days? What was going on at 6:18 where you decided to call the kids in sick? You must have been up before then to determine that the kids weren't going to be good enough to go to school. Well, if they're dead, they probably aren't going to be good enough to get on the bus themselves now, are they? So it tells me before that call at 6:18, they were probably already deceased and in transport and being buried or disposed of.
that day. That's why she made the mistake with Meadow. What does that mean? She was going to break that day. That's why she made the mistake with Meadow. What does that mean?
It means whatever led to, when they left Daniel's house to go into solitude at Cindy Murray's house, whatever happened at that house to make Malaya leave and relinquish her rights up to CPS. Meadow had to go into CPS custody at that point in time. So what that mistake is, he's never said. Nobody's actually said. But I wondered if it had to do with her and all of the talk about needing to go on a bit of a break as a parent in that circumstance. That could be her referencing. That could be the mistake he's talking about. Or there could be another one too. There's other hypotheses out there rolling around that are probably just as accurate. No, I don't think that she's going to break down quite that easily, Tammy. She's going to need some questioning. At some point, she will be in a position where the detectives will be talking to her again and questioning her with information that they know to be true or not. It's going to be easy for them when the roads are intersecting like this, and the longer that time goes on, the more and farther away the current narrative that they're leading with has gone from the scenario which they presented. It brings up itself a whole set of questions along the way for detectives to ask them. But no matter what, they'll hold out for as long as it takes to get to secure location on those bodies and do whatever they need to do. Look at all the wealth of information that's coming forward from a person who was actually there. It's coming out secondhand through him, but from an investigator standpoint, you couldn't ask for anything more. It's like work's doing itself. It doesn't have to be true. His answers don't have to be true. It just has to be someplace to go. If it's not true, then we're going to have to call him out. And when you're lying in a situation like this case with Jack and Lilly, if you're in the midst of it and you're lying and they catch you in a lie, that is going to mean only one thing, Daniel. There's many lies out there that you've really hinted on. Your wishy-washy answers and your ever-changing answers are really a lie of omission. And in the case of Jack and Lilly, can only mean one thing, that you are hiding all kinds of actual information. You're doing your best to make it look like you're being cooperative when in fact you're just being cooperative enough to put all of the shade over on Malaya as opposed to yourself. You can work on that until the cows come home, but the law is not going to see it that way. Pretending not to be able to lead people to the body in this isn't going to do you any justice. The only thing that's going to do you justice in the circumstance is coming to detectives with the truth and the reality of what happened and let them determine from there just how much you're working with detectives.
Does anyone know? Because I don't. Daphne, do you know what that's about? She was going to break that day. That's why she...
Like, I mean, do you consider a person a suspect in an interrogation room to be working with detectives when they extract a confession out of the individual after an hour and a half of questioning? According to Daniel, that's probably working with detectives. That doesn't make... No. Daniel, you've got the roles reversed. It doesn't automatically make you an investigator. It makes you even more of a suspect. And trying to get the truth out of you as to what actually really happened is probably difficult. Because then you can just play stupid, right?
She made the mistake with Meadow. What mistake? Daniel. She left with Meadow when she wasn't allowed. Okay, gotcha. So that's why. Got it. Okay, I see what you're saying there, Amanda. Thank you. Got it. Yeah, he's crazy. That's true as well. Then he says, "Yeah, we know it's him. He's Malaya's family. My kids, yes, great with
So a violation of the CPS order was or is suspected to be the mistake.
mine. It's running all of this province's faith." Okay, Malaya will. She's going as long as she can, but she will crack her mental health. Okay, I'm saying too much. I believe they're alive.
Nova Scotia
and
Blue Noser, what's going on?
Malaya will crack soon. Not one person in her family speaks to bringing the kids home. No one knew. It started after Meadow was born. He's talking about, I guess, her depression, postpartum depression. She also said the kids are in the woods. Stupid me believed that, and I searched and searched. Daniel, you were in bed together all night, right?
No. Hell no. Nobody believes that story. There's too much that contradicts with the initial claims of what it is that they were doing and said in front of the cameras for Daniel to get off scot-free in any of this. Daniel wants you to think that he was hoodwinked, but him trying to make it look like he was hoodwinked and lied to goes hand in hand with the reason why there is we'll call it their initial breakup that particular day of May 2nd, the evening, where she left and never came back. Yeah, postpartum depression. You think postpartum depression's a thing? You guys have no fucking money. You're broke. You've got 3 kids. No food. No prospects. Should be learning to day trade or code. Get a YouTube channel. A side hustle. But you're not. You're sitting in that fucking trailer, probably popping pills, snorting Tylenol, eating all kinds of nasty food. Osprey is coming in here saying, I hold her responsible for not protecting her kids and knowing Daniel was doing rugs. The kids' basic needs were not covered. I think Dee is guilty too. They're both guilty in this circumstance. All of a sudden, Malaya's in the corner and her friends are all circled around her, white knighting, spouting how abusive Daniel is. Well, the household was toxic. The environment was not conducive to raising kids. All right, that's a combined effort. A combined effort. Daniel will put that all on her. The fact that they're already doing that at this point is a bit of a sign. A sign for what's to come. A signal. Wilted lettuce. If true, it's amazing that they can get rugs, then take care of their kids. Well, there's probably a bit of truth to it, but it's probably already a well-known truth because it's in their lifestyle. It's not just something Daniel does in the man's room. You know, he's not tripping and listening to Pink Floyd albums, right? He's getting high and becoming a different person and living this secret lifestyle behind everybody else, or so he thinks. What else does he have in that closet, I wonder? But it's not all just on him. It's the combined effort. It didn't look like anybody had much motivation in the household, including Malaya.
If you guys had the same account of what happened, right, then you should know that she didn't have anything to do with it, or did something happen and you're not telling the truth either.
So hold on, there's one down here in the corner.
Lies about his lies.
Hold on, Justin. She also said the kids are in the woods. Stupid me believed that, and I searched and searched. It says they can't, then the kids would be moved to a different location. Oh, they can't. See, he's really hoping this Derwood O'Grady account. Somebody's asking about why not come out and say where the kids are if they're in a good place in that circumstance and you are just protecting them. See, he was really eager to put that story forward in the public eye. Just how much do you think he's working with cops in that sense? He's eager to spew disinformation. He's talking about it in a factually inappropriate way, incorrect. And you're talking about kids being moved locations, like bodies. Those kids aren't alive anymore, Daniel. And he's talking down about anybody that's not buying into his narrative that he's put out there with Derwood, and talking about hope and what it's doing. You can't even relate to normal human emotions, dude. So why even speak on it? Because the comments just themselves make it look like you're even more suspicious in that moment, because only a fool like you would be desperately grasping for things that don't make sense. You're pretending to be emotional about this situation. You're not emotional at all. You might be emotional for yourself. Of course you are. You're trying to cover up your wrongdoing. You need to come forward with the truth. It makes no sense that there's all this action and you're just zoned out in bed the night before. That story is told in a way that mimics Malaya's. They should be similar, but not told by the perspective of the same person. Both of you said that you spoke to the other person in regards to hearing the kids in the exact same way, telling me that the story's bullshit. I want to know why you called the kids in at 6:18 sick, Malaya. Now, how sick would they be if they just wandered out of a particular trailer into the spring wilderness in Nova Scotia, where it's cold, wet, damp, shitty? There's no food out there in the woods. Are they going to go out and shoot a bar?
He lies about his lies, and it is apparent now that he lies about his lies. Hello? He lied about his lies yesterday when he was in chat. And he said,
God bless you, Luminous. Thank you very much, darling. It's very generous.
He searched on a four-wheeler or an ATV. I say four-wheeler. ATV. She also said the kids... Oh, sorry, I already read that one. They can't. Then the kids would be moved to a different location. That makes me worry. That comment right there. That I hope, RCMP, please, whatever you do, watch where he is.
Think about that statement. He's giving you a rational reason to an otherwise situation. Pull that back up for a sec. They can't. Then the kids would be moved to a different location. So he's telling you the reason why things can't be done a certain way, or the kids, alive or not, would be moved to a different location. It tells people that you know where the kids are in this situation. You didn't say possibly. You didn't say probably. You spoke about it as if you owned the narrative, Daniel. It's another indicator. You're fucking up all over the place. It's not just the first one. It's a constant thing with this dude.
Going 24/7, 365. Because that makes me worry that they could or have been moved. And I think he's just got a complex about himself. I do not want...
Oh, there's Tammy in my chat. Somebody in my chat. Yeah, let's straighten that out. This Ralph Martel, I'm not sure who it is, Karen. Do you know who this Ralph Martel is? Because it's not Earl. Earl is the dad, and his brother's name's Justin. So I'm not sure who this Martel is, but probably a relation. Oh yeah, NS Blue Noser, AB, you're just down in Wentworth, down the road from Cindy and her horses. Oh yeah, do you know Cindy?
Them moved, right? We don't want them moved. You're going to lose your Timu badge by lying so much. Damn. You lose that, you ain't even getting a Wish badge, Dan.
So you're telling me, Karen Jones, Ralph is another brother that Janie denies, that Janie's denying? Janie apparently has been walking around denying she even knows who Ralph is. That's coming from could be trolls in my chat. I don't know. I never quite know. I just keep an eye on it. Karen Jones is in my chat saying Ralph is another brother, sometimes called Ralph McKenzie. They sometimes call him Ralph McKenzie. Well, that's pretty close. Because she had him with a different dad, another daddy, baby daddy. I can't wait for this shit to turn Jerry Springer style. It's gonna kick off. I can see it. They're all scrapping at the end of the driveway when they should be looking for a kid. They should be supporting each other emotionally, and they're already at the end of the driveway giving up their gig, kicking off, talking about drugs and pointing fingers and having to get removed from the property. It's really telling the investigators all they really need to know. Do you think they're going to turn around and say to Daniel, oh yeah, don't worry about that, buddy. We didn't see a thing. Oh, shit. It's a matter of time before Malaya has to come forward with what exactly happened, because the just sheer mountain of evidence out here publicly available to people will pressure her. The truth will be of great consequence. It'll be such a pressure on her that she'll be happy to tell you the truth, because the alternate is going to be pretty bad. Should it not be the alternate in the first place, I'm giving her some grace, thinking that, maybe it's not the worst case scenario, and there's an answer for all of this. People can all relate to panicking in the last minute, but nobody can relate to actively lying to cover your own ass because you weren't up to looking after your responsibility as a parent. And the harm, it was just something that occurred through your lack of being in the picture. You're in the other room, ignoring the kids. How is it Daniel can sit there and take credit for all of the things that he taught Jack and Lily when they end up going missing? Fuck, that'd be the last thing that I would say. I'd be so embarrassed. He's not embarrassed. He just blames Malaya. That's part of the plan in that sense. She's got to get away, so she's not immediately writing the picture, so he can at least, try to bullshit himself out of any sort of particular situation and put it off on Malaya. That'll get him by for a little bit.
How about that? Yeah, she wanted birth certificates, school pictures, and one stuffed animal for Lily and Jack. No, one thing. She went on and on about trauma. For the first year, over and over, I had to say to her, stop it. Yes, it's not her hiding, meaning them. Daniel, you were the one that said you cared most for Lily and Jack. And I still give you credit for, getting in front of the camera. I give you credit for that, and I always have. But then I was thinking, I feel like I have to pull it back as well, because, yes, it's helpful that we bust you on your lies, but if you're lying on two missing children, then it's in your interest better to not.
Like, it's amazing to me that Haley would get up here and start talking about what happened that day in the way that she did, without exactly articulating what's wrong with having substances around the children. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? No, not exactly. What are you getting at? You know, it just it tell it, she, and that was where Derwood was in chat warning her and telling her to keep talking in a sarcastic manner. I guess it must be the ignorance of youth. What's Daniel's new girlfriend's name? We're still looking for that, actually.
Not say anything at all. You know, when someone asks you a question and you say, you don't have to answer every question. I mean, I'm glad that you do, because when you lie.
Well, I just thought of some there, Tammy Burke. Some more charges to add there. Well, if they find out that there's substances involved, wouldn't there be all kinds of other charges, like surrounding the substance, the use of an illicit substance, having those around kids, it leading to death? There'll be so many goddamn charges. It's going to blow up. It's going to keep that court system quite busy. And then they're going to be wanting to know where you got it from and charge your dealer too. Well, it's okay. You're going to have to charge Janie because she was the one who made it. She cooked it up in the back there in the sugar shack. You know, used to be maple syrup up in here, but it's not paying quite the same as shake and bake.
You just continue to discredit yourself till he has no credibility left, as far as I'm concerned, at all. At all. Having done math myself, I know that you might not be high. You might not be high anymore, but you definitely can fall asleep normally. Can't fall asleep normally for like a day. Yes.
Yeah, Virginia Woolf. That's, I guess, in a nutshell. There's a bunch of caveats with that as well. So Virginia Woolf is saying, looking at this from a distance, this whole scenario, kids disappear, parents say not sure where they went. Well, there's a lot more to that. L.E. looks for the kids, can't find them. That's it? No, there's a whole list of other things that are associated with Daniel and the stories that they came forward with really not adding up. And he admitted it on CBC. He admitted that those stories were bunk. So they've admitted that the story that they came forward with is illegitimate. It's bullshit. It throws a real wrench into everything. So if he's coming forward and saying that, then you have to think that everything else is a lie. But it's at this moment Daniel wants you to think it's all on Malaya. And she had this planned out or something. It doesn't at all account for where the children are. They don't even talk about the kids whatsoever. Nothing. You think that you could be talking about what your children were doing aside from sleeping? That's just a cop-out in this circumstance. They had to have been up far before 6:18. So what's going on between 6:18 and, we'll say, 9:51 when the call into 911 happened? Was Daniel tired? Well, I wonder why he was tired. They want people to think a certain way, but the story no longer holds any weight because of the amount of lies that Daniel has been really exposed with at this point. There's several, and it's everything to do with their story. You've never met Cindy Bluenoser?
So I showed you guys like the graph the other night on math and all of that, and you watch intervention or in these things, and they say like your body just wants to go to sleep, but you can't go to sleep, and you become very irritable, very, very irritable. And when, like individuals told us, they believe that they were partying Wednesday, Thursday they slept. They tried to.
If they had 2 days off before that, There could have been all kinds of things going on in that home that we don't know about. And if we know that they're substance users, it was probably a nonstop party. God knows what they were getting down to. Oh, absolutely, Virginia Woolf. Yeah, if you go and look, Virginia, at the CBC interview, he tells you that essentially there's so much more to this case, and that he'll be visiting Malaya Brooks with Meadow when she's in prison after she breaks. What do you think he's insinuating? We're probably being dragged through this as the police are finding out a lot of things as well. Because Daniel is right at the forefront of misleading this investigation. Why? Why can't you just let the cops do what they do? Why is it that you have to be working with them every day to try to come up with new angles to the case? Bullshit, dude. Why would you even be out there messaging people that to begin with? Why the need? Why would you even have the need to be misleading anybody about this situation? The answer to all of that? Because you're guilty, you son of a bitch.
Arrest or whatever. I think they went Thursday afternoon to go get what they got in that parking lot. I think they went home and they did what they did, and they were up all night. And I think the next morning they wanted to rest. I think that's why she was up at 6:15. Nobody calls it 6:15. Nobody calls it 6:15.
I got a new hypothesis for you. Here's the complete opposite end of the spectrum then. So about this last, the kids, or the RCMP acknowledging the last time that they saw the kids alive was on CCTV near the mall in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. And his co-worker, and I'm assuming that to be Jordan, verified that as well with the RCMP. Doesn't it sound like they're probably on a bit of a drug run or meeting up to get another, they could be getting re-upped in that sense. And then during that process, in the car, maybe they stopped to get something to eat, and maybe Daniel was being sloppy and left his stash out, and the kids, while they were in the car with him, got into it. By the time he got back, he didn't realize it until he got home, and then there was really no coming back. Now, at that point in time, you would think you would call 911 if there was a medical emergency. I guess it's a possibility, but improbable even in my mind. I'm scared that even the kids getting into substances there, okay? That's still the nice end of the possibilities. That's still, in my mind, a better alternative to the worst case scenario here, because the types of individuals that would lie and try to get away with the worst in this probably are guilty of the worst. You would think that if they got into some sort of substances that they would be human enough to call in an emergency to come get the ambulance, to have them come and stick them with an IV and flush out their systems. Or to keep them on a machine to get them through instead of having their breathing slow to a stop. Unless the parents were otherwise occupied in their own fix. But even if that was, let's say that was the case, and that's a popular hypothesis at this point in time, that's the very least. We haven't really talked about, because we're not all violent fucking sadist animals. We really don't know what's in these individuals' secret lives. We can see how sketchy it is in their public persona. What is it that they really don't want us to see in this circumstance? Why is he so forthcoming with all of this fake info out of desperation? And what is it that they're really hiding? Maybe Daniel is this fucking weird sadistic freak when he gets on that tweak. He starts fucking everything, like the wall and the ceiling, the balls, the horse, the dog. Holes in the fucking trees, in the bush. Him and Earl, they get out there and get all at it. Who knows what the hell goes on over there? Maybe under this weird mindset that he gets in, this alternate personality, he then went and took out all his rage on the poor children and covered up his tracks. That's another possibility. But we're also looking for the most logical possibility. We keep stepping it up and stepping it up. The only thing that keeps me wondering about this, the kids getting into substance, would account for a couple of things, but I still couldn't see them. Maybe I could. I couldn't see them not calling in an ambulance. Like being confused as to what was happening. Maybe they were high and didn't want to call the ambulance and didn't want to get caught. That would be so selfish.
If your kids are sick, you're going to check on them. Daniel, you told us that the kids go to bed at 7 p.m. every night. Most nights. No later than 9 p.m. very latest. I turn into a psycho without sleep. I become very emotional and can't think straight. Yes. Same, Ginger. Same. If I don't get the right amount of sleep, you don't think clearly, right? You become more emotional. Your mind is not clear, right? Now, imagine this is why people go into math psychosis, right? They think people are against them. People in their home is the devil, or they're unaliving them by doing God's will when it's just the Drano and the lack of sleep.
Well, the thing is I hate to bring it up, and I'm trying not to introduce it until we know here, but think about the crazy shit that you read about on the daily about what people do to other people when they're under the influence, whether it be chew off their face and eat it. You know, just some of the most disturbing things, and you're like, holy fuck, things are getting worse every day. Yeah, Jamie, one or both of them had a meth rage? Possibly. We don't know them well enough, but all of the indicators are possibly there. I'm just exploring alternatives. I don't like to get too sadistic in that sense, because it seems like I'm broadcasting a fantasy, and it's not true. I'm just saying that even if the kids, I just have a hard time, because they can still get out of it. They wouldn't have a need to go to such extent to lie to cover up their tracks. It doesn't fit the personality, but I'm surprised every day. I mean, it's like, at that point, at some point, you have to love your children enough. Like, they could be, like, he's brought up this neglect. Like, I'm the one who looks after Jackie and Lily, me, and all of this. Well, it's an indicator that Jackie and Lily in that home were being neglected. That's him putting his spin on it. Right? But he's indicated that there is neglect in the home. That's all we really need to hear. And we can figure out just how much. We'll be the judges of that. Like, it's in that time where you're not monitoring your children at 4 and 6 years old, and they have developmental delays. The possibility that they got into something is high, because they'd be rooting around looking for food. When he says, what does playing exactly mean? What does up and playing and in the other room mean? I don't believe any of that shit. I value my food and groceries. If my kids are up and rooting around, I want to know what the hell they be in. Especially if they have special needs. Yeah, that was flakka, Jamie, but still. The face eating one. There's a couple of those. Yeah, it was flakka, but still, the rugs. Tammy Burke's asking me if I think that they're in water or woods. 50-50. 50-50, Tammy. They've got so much access to the ocean there, it'd be hard not to think that if you had to dispose of a couple bodies never to be seen from again, that you wouldn't take the extra journey and put them in the Atlantic. Like he has the means. He's got access to lobster traps, anchors. It's a 50-50 for me. The simpler one for me, it would determine a search, the proper search in that sense. Ground penetrating radar. But in their manic mind, they don't realize that they could get out of it if it was an accident, that children got a hold of the rugs. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, there's still plenty of time to save their lives. So in order to save your selfish drug habit, you allowed your children to pass over because you were preoccupied getting messed up. It's hard to even believe, but that happens too. But in this circumstance, what alternatives are there? Tammy, Deu, Vivian, she left Cody, the biodad, because he was drinking and substances and left another guy after him. BC the same and not good match for the kids. Like, she seemed like such a nice, pretty girl, innocent and naive 10 years ago. When you go and take a look at her, and the reason I didn't want to share that already, because even though it's Malaya, I kind of feel that she's an underage girl in that video. And I feel like weird if I was to... I feel like I'd be doxing her in that sense. But yeah, she looks completely different, but you do look different after you have 3 kids. You know, life can be hard on a person, especially if you've got all of these delusions about how your life could be because you're listening to the wrong people in your life from her perspective. What led her down this road? Like, at some point there's got to be some sort of human inside of Malaya and the circumstance. Humanity. Victoria's Secret, good to see you. The dirty twin mattress outside the backyard screams extreme neglect to me. I don't even fucking want to know. Listen, dude, would fucking go out of my mind if there was a little rat trap like that outside my door. I couldn't even go outside. Like, I can really use to go outside and clean up my yard right now. I'm probably gonna after this. I'm gonna have to. But, dude, when I see nasty mattresses in yards, the first thought in your mind is like, I wonder who got killed on that. And why the fuck is it outside in the front yard like it's an ornament? You know, you can tow it, a little extra effort there, tweaker, and you can tow it right to the end of the driveway, put it by the road, and have the county come pick it up. Maybe they do it once a month. Maybe they do it once every 2 months. But they do it, and they come and pick it up. Just put it by the road. They'll pick it up. It's junk removal. Take it to the dump if even better, but it'll probably cost you a little bit. Put it by the road, it's free. Usually, that's municipally though. Who knows where it is where you are. But fuck me. I don't even want to tell you what my mom would say. My parents would shit. Fuck me. Was there a party here this weekend? What would give you that thought? The fucking dirty mattresses strewn all over the outside? Come on. Dude, that's not a normal thing. You think that you guys are lounging around there on your four-wheelers, clean as a whistle. You could have taken that time that you put in to pressure wash down your four-wheeler and moved the goddamn mattress a little bit into the dump, to the garbage. What the fuck is going on around that house? I'm not trying to be all virtuous, because we can all clean up our home a little better. We can all do better. But that's not at all what you want to be advertising to people as they drive by. But I guess it is in the backyard. They can't quite see it. You could understand if you did it on a Friday and you threw it out into the snow and there was a snowstorm and you said, "Oh man, I'll wait till take that right out to the. I'll procrastinate that until Monday," but it's never gotten done. So I have to agree with you. The mattress is a major X for me. I can take a little bit of shit. Can even take a weedy garden. You don't have to be perfect. Just don't be like that. Just don't be that bad. Like, why would you want that? That just attracts insects. All kinds of things that you don't want. Especially the kids go and play on that with their clothes, then come in the house, jump all over your furniture. What the fuck? That's gross, dude.
Right? Not sponsored, but Drano, if you listen, I'll take any sponsorship I can get at this one. Pipe cleaner, we'll say. Pipe cleaner. Drano is a brand. Not the Drano. Jeez, I can barely get 5 hours tonight. So I generally get, every person needs a different amount of sleep. I need.
Blows my mind too that this asshole gets on the CBC for this interview. And the interview's all about, and it's titled even at the CBC, "I did not kill Jack and Lilly." That would probably tell me that he did. I mean, it's all about Daniel's innocence. It has nothing to do with what happened to the kids. It had nothing to do with the sheer mystery of the situation, should it actually be a mystery. Not one iota of the circumstances leading up to the reason you had to call 911. You just want us to think that you were already out there because you 1 minute saw the kids, the next you didn't, and then instinctively called 911. Nothing screams a bullshit story than instinctively calling the cops. Especially you bunch. You guys would be the last people to instinctively call the cops on anybody. Giveaway. What? There's a couple of hypotheses. Ask Karen that Blue Noser, Nova Scotia Blue Noser. That's a good question for Karen to answer. The mattress is probably evidence, Karen Jones said. Perhaps it is. Hiding in plain sight, it's all evidence as far as we're concerned. The whole place, the whole lot. Why is it you didn't want us to look in that cabinet there, old lady? Imagine I guess we know what Janie does in an emergency situation. She couldn't have given a good goddamn about the kids either. Like, why would you even deny cops entry into your home when your own step-grandchildren, in this circumstance, are missing? And the cops are there looking for them actively. And you're like, no, you can't come in right now. Yeah, all of those cops were looking sideways. I can't wait to see. I hope they have body cam footage on that. That's going to be the most replayed moment right there. The look on her face. What is it you guys are hiding? Why is it none of you individuals are acting appropriately in this circumstance? Even Janie. We don't even get to see her. But we know that she watches. David says, too bad Malaya's instinct wasn't keeping her kids safe and alive. Her instinct to call 911 was too little, too late. Right. She's completely going against all motherly instinct and bypassing what that actually means. It was your instinct to call 911 because you were so worried about the kids. So you should have been so worried about the kids beforehand, before you had to call 911. Exactly. It cites that it's on her mind, right? No matter what comes out of her mouth. She recognizes how bad it sounds. That's why she was stumbling over her words. Daniel running around wanting everybody to look at the airports. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just don't look here. Especially by Earl's cabin. Miss K says none of his interviews are focused on the kids. It's all about him and Malaya defending themselves. Well, him especially, right. Right. Now, before we get too far, let me say that I'm absolutely innocent in anything. Right. The whole reason it's a topic is because that's your primary concern. That was the instinct that called 911. The instinct to fucking cover your tracks. The instinct to try to lie and get away with this, you mean. That's also an instinct of humans.
Need about 4 to 6 hours a night, and then one day a week I will sleep 8, 10, even 12 hours one day a week. I used Drano today in my bathtub. It's called sleep deprivation that causes it. Yeah, exactly. I need about 10, not kidding. Everyone's different, right? And sometimes I forget by day 3 of missing, I go into withdrawal sometimes, and my mood swings are hell. Maybe if it wasn't, he was using, but he was still trying to quit suddenly. So with math, from what I understand, it's not a physical withdrawal. It is a mental. It's a mental. You need 8 to 9. 12 hours with a monkey on your back. Justin, bless you. Yeah. Now, Pearl, she needs...
Patty Burns, you got a great point. With all the amount of folks living on that land, and not one of them was out looking for these children, your heart breaks for their endurance of misery. I'm sorry, Jack and Lily. You deserve much better. Good to see you quit, Britch. Hey, Sweet Tea. Yeah. Oh, my God. It's a heat wave down here in Ontario. It's way over 30, man. Oh. It's a heat wave, girls. The markets are hot, pumping, printing money.
She needs a good 8 hours. Sometimes it's very hard to get her up of the morning. It's just like getting teenagers up out of bed. She's like, leave me alone, mother.
You know what you could do? It would be interesting to do. The investigators would know this. Is going back in and putting together in a simulation the scenario through their digital footprint. Like they all have phones. So at what point did everybody know that the kids were missing? Meaning Earl, Janie, Jamie. We got Daniel and Malaya all probably have their own phones in that circumstance. So what were they all doing? Place them, you can place them through Google and all of that stuff and pretty much minute by minute track them. And exactly, you could see where their phones, should they have it on them. And you would think that you would have your phone on you in a circumstance like this and you're trying to locate your kids in the moment. It would be interesting to follow up question and go through them after you come up with something person by person. Because it's interesting how things went down that particular morning that the RCMP got called. That would be really interesting to do. But of course you could only do that if you were key with all of the details like the RCMP are. Earl Shirt kept to himself during this whole thing. He makes Derwood look like Brad Pitt. Oh dear. Oh dear. What does Earl look like? Lori Green, you think the kids passed away and Daniel and company were out disposing of them? Absolutely, Lori Green. That's what you do with dead bodies. Then he told Malaya to phone the police and went out kidding on he's searching. I'm probably sure that they're all panicking. Like, they're not all that tight. They're doing a lot of this out of sheer desperation to save their own hides. No, Joe Neal, I live in Ontario, not Nova Scotia. Joe Neal, I know somebody here who does, though. A couple of people in here. Quite a few, actually, now that I think of it. Virginia, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Deanna, you tell her.
Chicken. Which opens up one eye. No rugs are worth your health. Well, I know, but just the way it is, life. She fell in
Patty
love
Burns, now's a
with
good time to
Meadow,
go shopping
and
where
Jack
the
and
air
Lily
conditioned
fell
stores are.
to the wayside. I think I don't know if it's believed it or lived it. I took care of Lily and Jack. She only cared for Meadow. That is all right. So, how do I say this? I'm going to say it, but Daniel might love Lily and Jack, but
Well, it's a demonstration on how little actual real love and how healthy that relationship was, because he doesn't have the social grace or the common courtesy to be lifting up his significant other in a time where you're supposed to be making it look like these kids had a healthy, nurturing home. You're busy pointing blame, and in doing that, making it look like the environment for those kids was much worse than what it is that you're trying to make it out to look like. Like, you wouldn't recognize a healthy environment if you walked into one. And that's probably accurate. Take a look at the shithole that you guys live in. Your mom is sitting in that 30-foot fucking RV broken down. It's one thing if the goddamn thing rolls around, but it's a broken down RV, bro. And you got Earl way out the back on the same chunk of land.
I don't believe, Daniel, you took care of them and Malaya didn't.
Justin, think about what it is that he's saying there. Think about what it is that he's saying there, RCMP. I took care of Jack and Lily. I took care of Jack and Lily. That's not saying anything, but it could be in reference to taking care of the bodies, taking care of something that had to be taken care of. It's like it's a word that makes you wonder, like Trezell West when he said rambunctious in front of the cameras in respect to Orrin and Orson Welles. Or Orrin and Orson. Did I say Wells? West. Wells. Orson Welles. Orson West, excuse me. Classic and sincere Pettis. Yeah, form a leakage, Luminous. Hey, sweet sativa. He's putting, I took care. He's he could be talking about taking care of the problem that they're both facing right now. That's completely different to the problems that they had when they were still last seen in front of that CCTV footage.
A boyfriend to say to about his stepchildren and say, oh, she only loved Meadow, the one that, I made with her. Right? Like, he was the only one taking care of Lily and Jack. When, to be honest with you,
and he's so adamant about these psychological issues to put label on Malaya in the moment, like he doesn't even have the wherewithal to know what it is that he doesn't know. It's a move out of desperation to pass the blame onto somebody who isn't in the picture and keeping the blame on the kids. At no point is he taking any sort of accountability in the moment for being remorseful for not having done more in a situation that he made up. That's fictitious in the first place. Otherwise, he'd be able to talk at great detail about it. I'll never forget it. I was just talking to her, and then when I go to turn around, there was no longer there. I was just doing this with them. I was just that. I had just gave them lunch. I gave them breakfast. I just yelled at them for making too much noise. Nothing. It tells you that the entire thing, the entire premise, the circumstance that he presented is false. And the real one, he's trying to avoid talking on.
I think they weren't being very well taken care of, at least in the last little bit, very good at all. Right? More like reverse it to it's him. Yes. Yes. He's acting more close to Lily and Jack here than he is even Meadow. Right? A baby is a lot of work. I'm sure it felt.
Luminous, you say, what about trafficking? Well, even still in this circumstance, they had to have trafficked their own children in this moment. They want to impress upon people that that's a possibility. There's all of these endless possibilities. The more possibilities that they bring up to a random audience, the less shade is on them. They have to get across to you that they're just have no idea what happened. No. The lack of accountability and the behavior by way of the parents, and especially since Daniel has come out and said too much, TMI, and said that we actually know, and I'm working with police, and it's all on Malaya, the cat's out of the bag already. They might have him believing that. Keep talking to us, Daniel. Keep being that little, junior investigator that everybody loves in this circumstance. But at the end of it, you're going to be facing some serious challenges yourself. You're not in the dark at all. The only thing that Daniel has done is admit to everybody that the story that everybody was meant to believe in this case is a lie. And he knows because he has all kinds of information that he can't divulge to us because it would compromise the integrity of the RCMP's investigation. Oh, you mean it would, make yourself look a lot more culpable than you want. You want to be in control to let everybody say, hey, Daniel, is this true or not? Yes or no at every step of the way. And that's just not going to happen, little boy. That ship sailed. You have just as much responsibility for the well-being of those children in your house than anybody.
Felt that way to him. A baby is a huge adjustment, but he had kids before. To me, it signals resentment he had for the kids. He is burdened by them. Yeah, and this is it. Don't get in a relationship if you don't want somebody else's kids, if they have kids. Don't do it. Don't put yourself through that, and certainly don't put the children through that. Daniel's a good person. Hitler threw good parties, they say. What's your point? What's your point? That's in the eyes of the, beholder, I guess. If you think Daniel's a good person,
Yeah, good people don't have fucking filthy mattresses in their back lawn. That's not a good person. That's my measure.
We're different people. So that's all I can say. You know what I mean? Lots of children get handed toys and tablets, but there's no care. Yeah. He's with your friend B. Yeah. It's okay, Daniel. We know. You said the same thing, Jen. Okay. He can't help himself.
Yeah, the trafficking scenario is just another attempt by the guilty parties in the circumstance to deflect any sort of further suspicion away from them in the moment until you can't take it anymore because it's a bullshit statement. Thanks to Derwood O'Grady. No, the parents need to be held accountable, and they will. Out with your stories already.
Thank you, Becca. He can't help himself. He has no self-control. And I think Daniel is probably extremely immature. And whenever you are in active addiction, let's say you start at age, just for a round number, 20. And you are active addiction for 20 years until you're 40. You are emotionally, mentally, not, I wouldn't say, but emotionally still on the same level. You stop maturing at that point, more or less. Right. Well, Luminous, you're welcome to have, everyone's allowed to have their opinion. I'm just one of 7 billion people on the planet. I say that all the time. And I just tell my opinion. But I don't believe good people lie about 2 missing children. That's just me, though. In my opinion, a good person doesn't lie about what happened the day 2 children went missing. 4 and 6. We're talking preschool and kindergarten, first grade at best. Oh, thank you, Janine. Just email me, honey. Oh, Patty, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. So, I mean, like I said, a good person is truly in the eyes of the beholder, right? And we are also willing to think someone is good, if you will, if we like them for whatever reason. Just a likeness. We look at them differently. Have you ever...
Luminous, please change your name to Stop Confusion. Thank you very much, Luminous. I appreciate that very much. It's very generous, darling.
Like the person or whatever, and then one day you see them in a different light, and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, how did I not see? We've all been there. All of us. Right? That happens. Can his brother, Justin, see his child? I don't know. I just know that he is getting divorced. What did Daphne say? Daphne, again, if you want to call in, you are absolutely welcome to. I don't want to pressure you. I hate to pressure people, so there's absolutely no pressure, but you are absolutely welcome to. Nor he nor his mom can see the kids. That tells you something, in my humble opinion. Yeah. You got to remember, when we heard, very beginning, right, I started speaking about this case on the 3rd, 4th at the very max. They said, instantly took Meadow out of the house. And they said, Mom had left. She had just left. It was the day. I think I actually, when was it? Saturday. Yeah, because we watched the press conference. And she had left after that. They had said she had left the press conference halfway through. Wow. But I was very shocked that they said Malaya could be with Meadow, but they just couldn't be in that house. And again, I think both of them are equally sus at this time.
Oh, attaboy, Justin. I'm proud of you, brother. The pothole was covered after the kids left, says Karen Jones. But they said it was filled at night. BS. It was filled after the kids were gone. Absolutely. That's the first thing everybody would do. Imagine the level of psycho that it takes to try to go ahead and commit to covering up this. What a selfish act. Like, to some degree, when they're apart, everybody does have to do their own thing, which I'm not sure if it's working towards finding any answers out, if there's a benefit to that at this point for the investigators. But at some point, it's just going to alter the way that they go about doing things. It's going to take the RCMP that extra time to go and fact check in circumstance, because until they get enough information to be able to hold over either Daniel or Malaya's head or anybody else that's involved, it's just going to be a couple extra steps. Therefore, longer than expected.
But I will say, I always think there's one leading the pack more than the other. There's always an influencer, right? And I got to go off how everything changed, it seemed, for Malaya whenever she got with Daniel, right? Daniel looks pretty clean up until about 2022, 2023. And then you can see the house where they live declined, right? There's always a health system in anything, in everything. I look at everything as a health system. Your family's health, not just their physical health, but the overall, how everyone's doing, how everyone's getting along, all of that, right? I call it the family health system. And when things enter in, just like a virus or, bacteria or anything like that, drugs, right, enters in the home, well, the family system will go down. Your money goes down, how you treat yourself goes down, how you treat others goes down, how you care about your home goes down. Everything in life, there is a cost. Everything, right? And you look on Google Earth and you look at just a year or two ago of the house from Google Earth. And then you look at it now and it has really declined. What made it decline so fast? It's not that he's working more, right? Or anything like that. Now, Malaya allegedly left Lilly and Jack's family because he was doing drugs and drinking, right? Now, just because she left Lilly and Jack's dad because drugs or drinking, doesn't mean Malaya's going to do that with Daniel. And it doesn't mean she's not ever going to do drugs either, right? There are relationships that I'm sure a lot of you've been in that you wouldn't put up with something with one man or woman, but the other one, for whatever reason, you would. Or they could get you to do something maybe you've said you would never do for whatever reason. Oh, hold on. Does Luminous... Is Luminous needing attention? Hold on. What's Luminous saying? Oh, Luminous. Get your little illuminator over here. Look at this. Why they would give Derwood a platform. Well, That's yeah. No, I completely understand, Isabel. You of course you wouldn't, because if they did something wrong, they have to fix as much as they can and take the consequences for that. But the mother or the father part of you would it would still hurt your heart to see your kid.
David, you got the right idea, the right question. You don't understand. You don't understand why Daniel isn't spending his time finding the kids. The only way for him to be considered innocent is for the kids to be alive. Roger. Otherwise, Daniel or Malaya are going to jail. Absolutely. Absolutely, they are. Do you think that they're going to go down just denying everything in this circumstance? At some point very soon, there's got to be enough evidence to lock them up for an extensive amount of time for simply misleading police. In a situation like this, because their children, they're still not, they're not found. So who's left holding the bag here? Mom and dad in this circumstance, because your stories aren't exactly checking out. It's not looking so good for you two. I wonder why they're not in custody, Virginia Woolf. The main reason I think is that Daniel is out here sharing all kinds of information, building a case against both him and Malaya, no matter what perspective he has. It's an alternative narrative, and he's out here endorsing people like Derwood or Grady and spreading disinformation and alternative theories that work towards covering up the actual truth to what happened in circumstances that led up to Jack and Lily no longer being alive. Good to see you, April.
Did that to themselves, essentially. Callie, I wonder that myself, to be honest with you. 2.5 months in, and Derwood claims him and Janie did an interview with CBC. Well, Derwood was not there. But did Janie? Did Janie do one? So look at this. Let me pull this up. What time is it? Okay, 10:28. Look at this. So this right here is supposed to be, from what I understand, this is Daniel's dad.
Oh, dude. Daniel's dad looks like a chomo, bro. Earl, you look like a chomo. Here comes Earl. Hold on, let me see it here. There he goes. Keep that for the archives. Earl, what's going on? Where's Jack and Lily, Earl? Holy shit, dude. Major clue. Major clue, friends.
What's his name? Ralph? Is his name Ralph? Luminous, if you don't know him, how do you know he's a good man?
Christ, Earl's like 87 years old, dude. What did he have you when he was in his 60s? What's going on? Him and Janie. Ooh, Janie likes the older men. Janie probably got with Earl to use him for his money and property so you guys could just suck off Earl and live on the other side of the property while he lives in the home. You guys are all using Earl, including Janie. Probably went and dug the kids right underneath his cabin.
I'm not looking for attention. I'm saying Daniel is a good man. Well, I mean, if you know him. why is he lying? And if you don't know him, how do you know he's a good person? Because judging on somebody we can actively show that he has said multiple things about the same situation.
Patty Burns, or who said that? You're saying that that's not Earl? Okay. Earl has a beard, so that's not him, Mama Angie? Okay. We'll keep it open as to who exactly that is. Everybody who lived on that property and didn't look out for those two children should be in jail and should be deeply ashamed of themselves, Patty Burns. Right. There'll be plenty of blame to be handed out afterwards when we figure out things. Maybe it's Ralph Osprey. Holy shit, he's ancient. I don't think Janie gave birth to that guy. Unless Janie's like in her hundreds.
I mean, what did your dowsing rods tell you or something? Looks like a Ralph. Exactly, Abigail. Stepdad, maybe because that pic had looked just like Daniel. Does Daniel have a stepdad? But well, there's a difference in lies. Let me see. God, this file's getting as long as Sebastian's in Summers. It's crazy. I thought I had Derwood somewhere. I thought I did. Maybe I don't. Let's see. I'm looking. We got a lot to... It's 10:35. I got to show y'all stuff. I've been talking my ass off here. Derwood's got the... Has he been anywhere the last few days? Yes, Lumen, it seems like you know really.
Wonder what old Derwood's up to. Hey, Derwood, are you out there listening, you son of a bitch? Why don't you guys in my chat and in the comments section below let Derwood know what you think of him at this point in time.
But all respect, fueled by a parent whose quad is cleaner than property, and maybe your friends can explain 2 a.m. filling in potholes. And yes, can see good people in addiction. Oh, absolutely. Anybody can become addicted. Any person. In fact, everyone is addicted to something, pretty much. Caffeine, sugar. I mean, there's...
Oh, well, you're talking about addictions and everything. Just take a look at food. They've really snuck us in. It's not the food like it was back in the 70s and 80s. There's so many things in our foods and snacks that are so cheap that are meant to make it more flavorful and addicting, if you will, that we start to get a misunderstanding as to where we all are in this cycle. You know, no matter what it is, you've got to understand what it is you're ingesting in yourself and its effects on you.
Obviously, levels. Yeah.
I mean, it's all an effort just to control you, my friends.
I picture Derwood right now.
All of the crap that your body ingests, all of these chemicals, a lot of them react with electromagnetic frequencies and things and control your behavior.
Now over there with Janie with a little picket fence. He's finally got his little picket fence. And he's probably dancing with a bottle of Wild Irish Rose, right? Everybody in the club getting tipsy. I can see him right now. That's probably what he's doing. I can see it right now. It's a big old honker. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. Everybody in the club. You go, Jane. You go, Junkyard Janie. Oh shit! That little guy that wears makeup on there said that. Something like that. Yeah. I can't honk.
really tells me everything. I love this. You're working out small details and also bringing in new evidence for investigators. That tells me and investigators that you didn't tell us the full truth the first time, you son of a bitch. Okay? You're working out small details. That's probably a cop term. Yeah, Daniel, there's just a few more small details we need to work out here, son. Your story isn't hashing up. It's not as complete as we would like it. He's got like 5 words in. Come on now.
He's a Canadian honker. The goose. He's the goose. Those geese are mean as hell. They are mean as hell. That's the only thing mean from Canada.
New angles. Tried to come up with some new angles as to what exactly happened to the 2 children that were living and disappeared under my watch. Are you for real, Daniel? Daniel, you're guilty. At least of 50% culpability in this. We're talking life sentence here. All right, this is a life sentence we're talking about, and you're talking about exploring new angles with the cops just in case they get a little too close to the truth. You can come up with another weird fucking hypothesis to blast at them. It's a little too late. The ship sailed. All of the important parts to this investigation really happened that first day. And now Daniel has to go with this being in the dark and being misled by Malaya. Because it's the only thing that he's got. He can easily just say, I don't know. It was all Malaya's doing. Fucking hardly. He's just as engaged, and it was there as a participant during whatever happened to that call leading up to 911. Don't you think that you just go and get directed around? Like, first of all, they just want you to think that they were running around searching for the kids. All of a sudden that they had a concern over where the kids were. Well, they didn't fucking have a concern the previous God knows how many hours that they were laying in and out of sleep in that bed. Why all of a sudden then? It's like a reverse introduction to negligence within the household, which is going to be the bare minimum, but it's an entry and a signal as to what probably happened in the circumstance. Bare minimum. Now, I'll tell you, you can go through YouTube and watch all kinds of the worst scenarios on police body cam and interrogations to situations similar like these, and the reasons for lying are all the same or very similar. This is why it always rhymes, because they are lying.
Justin, you should be an actor. That's the only thing mean from Canada. Is their geese. Oh my God. Those things will bite you and twist. Chase you. Even they get out of Canada during the winter. They're snowbirds themselves. The goose that laid the dead egg. Yes. I had 2 that live on my pond. Yeah. I can't with those things. Probably moonshine.
Think about how that fucking statement is mind-blowing. I work with investigators directly multiple times per week now. He's like, is this a new career path for you? Did you just find your dream job? You're working with investigators directly, so they're active in talking to him at least. It's funny how they have to go back and try to figure things out. So they're probably putting in a lot of effort to make it look like he is just buddy with them. Who knows what they're doing at this point in time? Probably. Whatever keeps him talking. Whatever keeps him... You want to wear the captain's hat for a week, brother? You keep on talking. We'll get you into the captain position in here. Some people, it's just a cigarette in the interview room. Oh, shit. Daniel... Is that what you're doing? No, that's how hard he doesn't want to look like a suspect. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, holy fuck, I feel a little pressed here. Everybody's, coming down on me, and I just like to come forward and express you know, a few things rather than come out, you know, that's bad enough, but rather than come out at your own defense and have people really understand that you're the biggest fucking tool on the block. It's better off not saying anything, Daniel. Why couldn't you shut the hell up? I wonder why he can't keep his mouth shut. Maybe he drew the shortest straw. Do you think he got a toy badge, Lily? That's how he wants us to think of it. Oh, all these new angles. There's no hope, right? He doesn't seem too disturbed about the missing kids that he was, in charge of looking after, or he spent all of his time looking after. They just disappeared like they do, Oh my God. He takes like being judged and looked on. He almost takes it pretty well. He takes it like a champ. He's got to be that desperate. Why is he so desperate for people to think that he didn't kill Jack and Lily? He's got so much work into this. It's like a little project. Like, it's one thing if there was a legitimate mystery here, but there's no fucking mystery. The stories by way of the parents are just so bad and filled with holes and fabricated, then rehearsed. What else do you do but just accept them and go on and let some time go by, and hopefully the information pops up and you collect enough of it that doesn't leave you really any choice but to ask a certain question. So what they'll do is bring Daniel into the interview room, present it like that, no different than you did boo-boo at work and you're being reprimanded. Like, well, Daniel, we did this and that and this and that, and what does that tell you? And what do you think that tells you? And you bring him to a point where you're bringing that horse right to the stream to drink, and he's going to really have to admit himself that something just doesn't make sense that he said, and then he's going to have to be accountable in that moment in the interview room, and that'll be happening soon. No matter what, it's not going to be very nice. Like, Jack and Lily's end could have been prevented. Do you guys think it's going to be a lot worse than we're thinking now, or not as bad and we've already thought of it? And no matter which way you look at it, it's going to make Daniel look like a complete son of a bitch, because when the truth does finally come out, or some truths, it's going to make you look questionable every step of the way. You haven't exactly been forthcoming in front of the camera.
Probably Janie's probably has it in her cupboard. Probably got it in her cupboard. We have Canadian geese and new babies. Oh, Robin, you got new little satanic geese on the.
Hey, Andy Hammond, good to see you, Lady Lolo.
Just kidding. Do you call them Cobra chickens? Is that what you call them? Cobra chickens? Hey, Zinsa, so good to see you. And dear 2 baby fawns in the yard. Oh, I love animals. I love animals. Always have. Like, you hurt animals, children, or someone who is mentally or physically can't fend for themselves, don't like you. Derwood the duck. Yeah. He's like Darwin, but with a big honker. My spirit creature is a goose. Really? Mine's probably a monkey. All right, so. Oh, I want to. Daphne, can I play? I think this is your video. I want to. Guys, can y'all drop Daphne's channel? Oh, by the way, Deception Detective did a very good video. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I recommend y'all watching that, because you guys remember me talking about these people on Facebook and stuff, how they're like, they'll take my my thumbnail and then they'll mix it with someone else's words. They'll merge like the two, and they'll put some weird ass link on.
Thank you very much, Annabella. Thank you very much, darling. It's very, very generous of you. Charity appreciates it. We're just having some lemonade in the background. It's like 32 over here. It's so sweltery.
Underneath or whatever. He talks more about that because I've not clicked on the link or anything, but I said about a week or two ago, I put underneath, I said, this part of this thumbnail is mine. And listen, I don't mind anybody using my stuff as long as it is for the betterment of finding the children, right? That's what it's about. But this person is just straight up doing some.
Uh-oh, Justin's patience is being tested.
Wow. The first thing they did was rip the pull-up off after, opening their eyes. Why would he still be wearing a pull-up in the woods? Well, I mean, think about this. I mean, if you put the nighttime diapers, pull-ups on them, imagine they're old enough to where it's uncomfortable, right? It's
Jess.
uncomfortable for them when they wake up. So yeah, they normally pull it off. So why would he be in the kitchen, doing whatever, and then go outside where it's cold outside in a wet diaper? It's Daniel or Derwood. Or
Why hasn't anybody in chat, when they've been in communication with Daniel, just asked him, Daniel, did the kids actually walk out that door? Did the kids actually walk out of the trailer like you guys told the RCMP? Just straight up ask the guy. Because he's wishy-washy between two different narratives. He wants to say no and then go with this Derwood narrative that Janie ID'd and saw Malaya, shuffle the kids out while her dog noticed or heard that shriek. Sorry, Daniel. We don't believe you this time. There could be all kinds of truth in that, but it's number one person's perspective through second and third party. So what is it really? It doesn't exactly seem to me to be the evidence that you're hoping it should be. It just seems like another fabricated story. That's the pattern of behavior here since day one, since you reported the kids missing. It's been nothing but an attempt to come up with a new hypothesis. All while skirting your accountability that day because you were there. You were there. And then pretending to sleep is not going to be an excuse. Pretending to sleep in the circumstance makes no sense because the order of operations go against everything. You just slept through everything. What the hell? When did you plan on getting up that day there, Daniel?
They're probably one and the same now. Daniel would. Daniel's brother has Mackenzie for his last name too, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, we have the same birthday? Aw, thank you, Juniper. You're a Cancer too. Thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate you. I don't have any birthday plans. My family was just asking me. They were like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go somewhere? Do you want to do something? And I'm like, no, I really don't. No, my birthday's coming up. It's the 15th. Hold on. What was this? There's a new post saying Lilly had on a Barbie shirt. Like, how do they know this? Well, it depends on which interview you listen to. One interview, they say Lilly kept coming inside the room. Another one said Lilly kept poking her head in the room. Thank you, Daphne. Oh, really, Sissy? When's yours? Can you send it? You want to call in? That's all I want. Yeah. Fever. Those three things. She said she had a little cough. 2 days?
Friends, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to have some supper here. Stay tuned as it develops. It's 4 o'clock on sweltering Sunday the 13th. We'll be on a little bit later to take you through the evening hour at around 8 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for sticking it out this long, and stand by your device. We'll be back very shortly. Peace.